You gotta show me a picture of her. I'm so excited for you.
Hey guys, I'm Treasa, and this is obviously my channel.
Excuse me.
And if you haven't seen any of my other videos before or haven't watched the rest of this series, this is the third video of my first trimester recap. And I just broke it into 3 videos to try to make them not as long and overwhelming. With this one, I want to focus on how my body changed and what I didn't expect to experience but did. If you want to see about my symptoms or how I got pregnant or my cravings, those are going to be in the first 2 videos, so you could check those out. I don't know why I'm pointing over here. This isn't where you're going to get the videos. It's going to be up here or down here somewhere. Go and find them. Links in the description. Welcome to this video, the third video of the series. Let's just first talk about how my body changed. The first thing that started to change was probably my breasts. They were tender first, and they continued to be tender the entire first trimester, which I mentioned as a symptom in the second video. That was a sign they were going to get big, and I'm sure they're going to get even bigger because it's 20 weeks. I'm 20 weeks in right now, and they are continuing to grow. At the end of this video, I will do a little showing of my bump. As far as like the rest of my body changing, I didn't notice myself changing as far as my face shape or my arms or my legs during my first trimester. My hips definitely widened by the end of my first trimester. In the beginning and mid of my first trimester, I was bloated, all in my abdomen. I generally don't just bloat up in my abdomen like that, so it was very uncomfortable for me, and my tummy area felt really, really tender. I would say probably from week 10 to 14, my stomach was really sensitive to the touch. Maybe even longer than 14, maybe to 16 weeks. I felt really tender, to the point where if I'm sleeping in bed or something and my husband goes to touch my stomach or whatever, I didn't want anyone touching my stomach. I used to wear high-waisted jeans all the time before I was pregnant, so I wore them at the beginning of my pregnancy, and even those would sometimes be irritating me because they're quite restrictive on your stomach. Pantyhose was uncomfortable for me, and I'm one of those people that just love pantyhose because I don't like pantyhose at all. It's very frustrating because they rip and then you have to buy new ones. But as far as the fit and sucking you in and stuff, I love it. I was a dancer growing up. I'm used to wearing tights. I'm used to wearing control top, and I love it. Not during my first trimester. That is very uncomfortable. It's a definite no-no. So all the bloat, though, in my body just went to my abdomen and made me feel very fat, honestly. I know that's a dirty word, but I just felt fat. I felt ugly. I talked about this in the video I previously filmed. I had to counteract how ugly I felt in my clothes because none of my clothes was fitting properly because of how bloated my stomach was. I ended up starting to do my hair, which I'm not a hair girl. Don't know how to do my hair except for just to brush and straighten it. On a normal day, I wouldn't even brush it. But since I've been pregnant, I've been brushing my hair. I've been straightening it. And I would normally just tie it in a knot, like a messy bun. If you have watched my vlogs ever before, messy bun, 24/7. I sometimes I'll do my makeup, but the hair is a never. So that's a new thing that I've been actually trying to do my hair, because it helps me feel better about myself because none of my clothes was fitting. So as far as clothes has gone with my body, like I said, a lot didn't fit, but a reason a lot didn't fit was because I was wearing high-waisted jeans. Most of my current denim is high-waisted, and therefore those stopped all fitting me by 12 weeks. any pants that were like, I was on the fence of fitting because they were like super skinny and stuff like that, stopped fitting me even before 12 weeks, like 10 weeks probably, or before that. Because I had already gained a little bit of weight before I got pregnant, so those were already tight, so those weren't fitting. Like, my work uniform was already tight before I got pregnant. Yeah, I just can't even imagine. It just wouldn't have been good. From 12 weeks until 16 weeks, I pretty much, if I was wearing jeans, it was one pair of Matchstick J. Crew low-rise jeans that I owned in black, or I was wearing leggings or sweatpants or biker shorts or dresses. I wore so many dresses. Like, I'm not a dress person. That is not my go-to. And I was wearing so many dresses in my first trimester because I just didn't feel comfortable in anything and I didn't know what I could wear. A lot of my shirts, because most of my pants were high-rise, were cropped. So that was also a whole thing. Other than that, though, I feel like my body didn't change too much in my first trimester. I didn't feel like I started to get like an actual bump until the beginning of my second trimester or end of my first trimester. I don't know why I said my body didn't change too much. It changed a lot. It just didn't look pregnant.
It changed a lot.
Since then, I've changed so much more. So what I'm going to show you, this is actually not first trimester body. This is 20 weeks. So I'm well into my second trimester. And yeah, I'm just going to spoiler because you can see me and I'm going to show you my bump anyways. My face, like if I put like a before pregnant and now like image of me, in the last, like, I swear, just week, my face shape has just changed. Like, I have just a bigger head now, bigger face. It's absurd. And, like, I know, like, if you haven't seen me before, that doesn't make sense. Or if you haven't been pregnant before, but, like, I promise you, the before and after, it's different. I want to go over what I didn't expect going into pregnancy, because there was a couple things that I didn't expect to happen. I already feel like I just talked about, so I'm just gonna quickly reference them. I didn't expect to be like bloated but not look pregnant, like to just be this weird in between. I don't know why, but I never expected that. So that was very interesting to realize is like a stage in pregnancy that I feel like not everyone always talks about. And then along with that, something that I just talked about, I was shocked that it kind of just like added up to me feeling really ugly and like wanting to be actively pursue being more feminine just so I felt less ugly. I don't know why that shocked me though, because honestly, I deal with like, or in the past have dealt with like body dysmorphia like pretty much all the time I've growing up. I've always been insecure about myself. So honestly, that shouldn't have shocked me. But I feel like it was because I just didn't expect my body to look the way it did, which was just bigger and not pregnant and just like bloated and like unhealthy almost. And I was going to the gym. I have not gone to the gym in the past week, but like my first trimester, I was pretty good about going to the gym on and off, but about like 3 to 4 times a week. I was being active and stuff, but I still
was so bloated.
Enough about that. We're done with that.
Also, when you don't look pregnant, but you know you're pregnant, and you don't have a lot of pregnancy symptoms, it's a very confusing thing because I would feel like I'm not pregnant. Like, I'm not pregnant enough yet. Like, I literally had a conversation with my therapist about, like, how I'm excited to be pregnant, but then I feel like I can't claim it yet because I'm not pregnant enough yet because I don't have any symptoms. I don't look pregnant, and I'm still early on. Like, when am I allowed to claim it? And she's like, no, you're pregnant. Like, you're actually pregnant. So you don't, there's not a timeline when you're allowed to say you're pregnant. You're pregnant. But there was, like, early on in the beginning of my pregnancy, there was a couple times when I would mention something I've experienced and relate it to, like, maybe this is a pregnancy symptom or whatever. And people would say, oh, well, you're not that pregnant yet. And now, keep in mind, people saying this to me had never been pregnant and therefore really have no right to have an opinion like that, to say, like, I don't have the right to have an opinion, or I don't have the right to say that. When I talked to people that had been moms before, they were very much the opposite. They were like, what have you experienced so far? And, like, excited to, like, hear about my symptoms and, like, embrace me as, like, one of them and stuff like that. So it's just lack of understanding because they haven't gone through it before. But when you're in this, like, very sensitive emotional state of just finding out that you're pregnant and, you know, your body is changing, but it's, like, also not visible to everybody else, it's hard. Like, it was really hard for me to figure, like, to wrap my brain around I am pregnant in the very beginning, probably like the first 4 weeks at least, maybe even longer than that. I really couldn't comprehend, like, I am pregnant and, like, everything that's going on is part of the pregnancy, and that's okay, and I'm allowed to talk about it and claim it, and yeah, like, it's a thing, I'm experiencing it. And I think something that actually contributed to this feeling was that I had such minor first trimester symptoms that, you know, there really wasn't, like, anything for me to grab onto. It's not like, oh, I'm experiencing morning, like, it's like almost like, well, I shouldn't even say anything about what I'm going through because I'm having such an easy time of it. It's like that type of mentality. But then at the same time, it's like, but also this is happening to me and I want to be able to talk about it. So yeah. Next thing. There was one other thing I wanted to mention. For me specifically, around weeks 10 to 12. And it was just because I feel like before I got pregnant and then once I got pregnant, I was consuming so much content about pregnancy and infertility and miscarriages and, like, the things that could go right and the things that could go wrong and all the things. And because of that, you know, growing knowledge, you start to learn that you are at greater risk for miscarriage before weeks 10 to 12. And so when I approached weeks 10 to 12, I started, you know, you're starting to settle in. You're starting to feel like, when I was really bloated. So I definitely was starting to look a bit more like I might be, there's something going on. I don't really look pregnant, but I could say that I'm pregnant because I don't know. Like, it was definitely more apparent that I'm pregnant, at least to myself and to people close to me. So I was starting to, like, really, like, settle into being pregnant. And then at the same time, in the back of my mind, it's like, oh, well, if you're going to miscarry, it could be soon. And at that point, you're like, no, like, I finally accepted that I'm pregnant. Like, I know now that I'm pregnant. So, because, like I said, I was struggling with this identity, like, I'm not pregnant enough yet. So, like, when I finally, like, settled into it and came to, like, terms with it, then I started to feel like, oh, I might lose this now. And that's really scary because I don't want to lose it. Like, I'm so happy. Like, I'm so excited. So, yeah, I didn't really expect that either. I mean, I've definitely heard people talk about that, but that's not really something that you daydream about or whatever. So you don't really think about yourself experiencing that. So that was around, like, weeks 10 to 12 that I kind of would randomly, like, my mind would drift off and worry about a potential miscarriage and stuff like that. And honestly, I worked really hard to, like, not dwell on those feelings, and by the end of that period, I did not have those feelings anymore, and still to this day, like, I don't worry about that. So that's basically it. Honestly, I don't know if I really even said anything worthwhile in this little video, but hopefully you got something from it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And if you checked out the entire series, I really appreciate you. Also, I have been having like gas come up my throat this entire video. It's been so hard to film. Hopefully that's not apparent. Hopefully in editing we can fix that. But I totally almost let you go without showing me my belly. I'm so sorry. So I have a weird outfit on right now because I was filming, so I have leggings on with my with my office-y looking top, so ignore that. This is my belly at 20 weeks. I do have high-waisted leggings on, but it's there. It's definitely there. Yeah, that's where we're at. If you're still here, please, if you haven't already, subscribe down below. I really appreciate it. And like this video if you're still here, because clearly you like something about it if you're still here. And if you haven't checked out the other videos from the series, like I said, go ahead, check them out. I don't know why I keep going like this. This is where the videos normally are at the end of the video. So the videos will now be right here. Anyways, guys, I'm just delaying this at this point. Bye.